Okay, reverse that. Thank you, Ms. Whiteside, for the record. Will the Senate please come to order? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Aquino. Senator Awal.
Here.
Senator Chang. Senator DeCoit. Senator DeCourt.
Here.
Senator Dela Cruz. Senator Elefante.
Here.
Senator Favela. Senator Fukunaga. Senator Gabbard. Senator Hashimoto. Senator Ihara.
Present.
Senator Inoue.
Present.
Senator Kanuha. Senator Keoho Kalole.
Ill.
Senator Kidani. Senator Kim. Senator Lee. Senator McKelvey. Senator Moriwaki.
Present.
Senator Rhodes. Senator Richards.
Aye.
Senator San Buenaventura. Senator Wakai. Mr. President,
Present.
25 members present.
Thank you. The chair has read the journal of the preceding day and approves the same. Are there any introductions today? Senator San Buenaventura.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, I'm honored today to introduce the self-advocates and advocates of State Council on Developmental Disabilities who are here today for their 25th annual day at the Capitol, which is going to be tomorrow, a celebration of the invaluable contributions that individuals with developmental disabilities make to our communities. March is Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month, a nationwide campaign dedicated to raising public awareness of the abilities, strengths, and achievements of individuals with developmental disabilities. This year, self-advocates from across the state have chosen their own theme to mark the occasion: respect yourself and all people with disabilities. Tomorrow, March 5th, attendees will have the opportunity to engage directly with state legislators from their home districts and deepen their understanding of the legislative process as they advocate for issues affecting their community. I encourage you to visit the resource table set up on the 4th floor tomorrow, where agencies will be available to share insights into the critical support services that empower our DD community. Your engagement makes a difference in advancing inclusivity and accessibility for all. And I'd like to take a moment to introduce the advocates and self-advocates visiting us. Could you all please stand up or wave? I do not have your names in front of me, but aloha. So I see Daintree Vitality. Thank you. And of course, you've all met Sierra Whiteside. And please wear orange tomorrow. And at this time, I am going to hand it over to Senator Kanuha for the Senator for Kona.
Senator Kanuha.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am also excited to have, as Senator from Puna, introduce the group of advocates from West Hawaii, the Arc of Kona. I was looking, aloha everybody from the Arc of Kona, if you could please wave and be recognized. Aloha. And Mr. President, I do have the list of names that I'd like to introduce at an appropriate time. And I also have from Full Life Hawaii, Danette Sonoda and Auntie Cookie Ford. Aloha, if you guys are here. Oh, there you are. Welcome to your Senate. Thank you.
And if you want their names inserted, Senator Kanuha, submit them to the clerk. Senator Richards.
And on the heels of the senator from District 4 South, I do have one name to add from the group of the self-advocate and the sports staff from West Hawaii, Julia Altoff. Welcome to the Senate. And Mr. President, point of personal privilege,
Please
introduction.
proceed.
I have my cousins in the gallery here. I have Ann Harris from Massachusetts and Sarah Richards from Washington State. Welcome to our Senate.
Further introductions? If not, Senator McKelvey.
Thank you, Mr. President. I too would like to introduce some of the advocates for the State Council on Developmental Disabilities from the island of Maui and Napili. And if you're in the audience, if you could please stand. We have Travis Urayanza, Natalie Greenleaf, Camry Satterley, and Anna Mae Davin. Please welcome them to the State Senate, everybody. Aloha, and thank you for being here.
Thank you. Any further introductions? Senator Hashimoto.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to introduce a few folks from the island of Maui as well. We're in the Wailuku Kahalui area. We have Fallon Lacio, Andrew Maea, and Teresa Makadangdang. Please rise and welcome to your Senate again. They're here for Developmental Disabilities Day tomorrow.
Any further introductions? If not, Senator Decoy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd also like to introduce self-advocate and support staff from Upcountry Maui, Angie Pater. Pater, if she is here, would you please stand? Okay, welcome. Thank you. Thank you, and thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Any further introductions? Yes. The Garden Island has a more limited budget and won't be here until tomorrow. Madam Clerk.
On pages 1 to 3, Governor's Message numbers 697 to 711 transmit nominations to various boards and commissions.
Governor's Message numbers 697 to 711 are referred in accordance with the referrals listed on the order of the day.
On pages 3 to 19, House Communication numbers 80 to 178 transmit various House bills which passed third reading in the House for first reading and referral to committee.
Senator Wakai.
Mr. President, I move that said House bills pass first reading by title and be referred to committee.
Senator DeCourt.
Mr. President, I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Any objections? If not, the motion is carried.
On page 19, Introduction of Measures, Senate Concurrent Resolution numbers 18 to 35 and Senate Resolution numbers 14 to 20 for referral to committee.
So ordered.
Standing Committee Report number 1069 for one-day notice.
So ordered.
Third reading of the consent calendar on pages 20 to 62.
If there are no objections from the members, we'll be taking third reading on consent.
Third reading of all bills on the consent calendar, beginning with Senate Bill 356, Senate Draft 1 on page 20, through Standing Committee Report number 1066 on Senate Bill 1447 on page 62.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? All bills on the consent calendar from Senate Bill number 356, SD1 on page 20 through SB number 1447 on page 62 are unanimously approved on third reading. Madam Clerk.
On page 62, floor amendments. Standing Committee Report number 767, third reading of Senate Bill 997, Senate Draft 2 relating to energy.
Senator Keohokalole.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wish to offer a floor amendment to SB 997 SD2.
Madam Clerk, please identify the amendment.
Floor Amendment number 1, proposing an amendment to Senate Bill 997, Senate Draft 2, copies of which have been distributed to the members.
Senator Keohokalole.
Mr. President, I move that floor amendment number 1 be adopted.
Senator Kanuha.
I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Senator Keoho. See, there I go. Senator Keohokalole.
It's because you're reading it off the paper.
Yep, and there it is.
Easier from the ear. Mr. President, the amendment is to defect the effective date of this measure to continue the discussion with our colleagues in the House. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Any objections? If not, the motion is carried. Floor amendment number 1 has been adopted. Senator Keohokalole.
Mr. President, I move to separate Senate Bill 997 SD2 from Standing Committee Report number 767.
Senator Kanuha.
I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Any objections? If not, the motion is carried. The clerk is directed to file Standing Committee Report number 767. 48-hour notice is hereby given for third reading of Senate Bill 997 SD3.
Standing Committee Report number 877, third reading of Senate Bill 352, Senate Draft 1 relating to pesticides.
Senator Gabbard.
Mr. President, I wish to offer a floor amendment to SB 352 SD1.
Madam Clerk, please identify the amendment.
Floor Amendment Number 2, proposing an amendment to Senate Bill 352, Senate Draft 1, copies of which have been distributed to the members.
Senator Gabbard.
Mr. President, I move that floor amendment number 2 be adopted.
Senator Lee.
Mr. President, I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Senator Gabbard.
Yes, this is a proposed amendment to insert a defective date of July 1st, 2050, to continue the conversation with our colleagues in the House.
Is there any further discussion? Any objections? If not, the motion is carried. Floor Amendment Number 2 has been adopted. Senator Gabbard.
Mr. President, I move to separate SB 352 ST1 from Standing Committee Report number 877.
Senator Lee.
I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Any objections? If not, the motion is carried. The clerk is directed to file Standing Committee Report number 877. 48-hour notice is hereby given for third reading of SB 352 SD2.
On page 63, Standing Committee Report Number 1049, third reading of Senate Bill 1396, Senate Draft 2, relating to economic development.
Senator Dela Cruz.
Mr. President, I wish to offer a floor amendment to SB 1396 SD2.
Madam Clerk, please identify the amendment.
Floor Amendment Number 3, proposing an amendment to Senate Bill 1396, Senate Draft 2, copies of which have been distributed to the members.
Senator Dela Cruz.
Mr. President, I move that the floor amendment number 3 be adopted.
Senator Decoit.
I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Senator Dela Cruz.
In SB 1396, there is a definition within the bill for climate change, noted on page 3, lines 19 to 20, as projects that mitigate, adapt to, or increase resiliency to climate change. However, the bill lacks a definition for tourism that appropriately addresses the statutory mandates that we have in place through HRS 201B-1, 201B-6, and 201B-6.4. This floor amendment will address this by amending references on page 3, line 9, 13, 19, and 20 from tourism to tourism marketing and destination management. This clarification better shows the legislative intent and alignment with the existing statute.
Is there any further discussion? Any objections? If not, the motion is carried. Floor Amendment Number 3 has been adopted. Senator Dela Cruz.
Mr. President, I move to separate SB 1396 SD2 from Standing Committee Report number 1049.
Senator Decoit.
I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Any objections? If not, the motion is carried. The clerk is directed to file Standing Committee Report number 1049. 48-hour notice is hereby given for third reading of Senate Bill 1396 SD3. Oh, Senator Owa, you had your hand up to. No vote on the bill. So noted. Or no vote on separating the amendment. Well, cast a no vote. Yeah. Madam Clerk.
Standing Committee Report Number 1052, third reading of Senate Bill 1589, Senate Draft 2, relating to the Stadium Development Special Fund.
Senator Dela Cruz.
Mr. President, I wish to offer a floor amendment to SB 1589 SD2.
Madam Clerk, please identify the amendment.
Floor Amendment Number 4, proposing an amendment to Senate Bill 1589, Senate Draft 2, copies of which have been distributed to the members.
Senator Dela Cruz.
Mr. President, I move that floor amendment number 4 be adopted.
Senator Decoit.
I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Senator Dela Cruz.
Thank you, Mr. President. This amendment is being offered to clarify that the fiscal year 2027 appropriation out of the Stadium Special Fund must solely come from a gift or grant provided by a private source.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Any objections? If not, the motion is carried. Floor Amendment Number 4 has been adopted. Senator Dela Cruz.
Mr. President, I move to separate SB 1589 SD2 from Standing Committee Report number 1052.
Senator Decoit.
I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Any objections? If not, the motion is carried. The clerk is directed to file Standing Committee Report number 1052. 48-hour notice is hereby given for third reading of Senate Bill 1589 SD3.
On the ordinary calendar, beginning on page 63, third reading.
If there are no objections from the members, we'll be taking third reading on consent. Madam Clerk, on the first item on the ordinary calendar, Senate Bill 1621 SD1. If there are no objections from the members, we will recommit this bill. Hearing none, so ordered. Next item, please.
Third reading of Senate Bill 117, Senate Draft 1, relating to defamation.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservations for Senators Richard, San Buenaventura, Kim, DeCoit, McKelvey, Keohokalole. Any no votes? No vote for Senator Awa, no vote for Senator DeCourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. Turn the page too fast. SB 117 SD1 passes third reading.
Third reading of Senate Bill 311, Senate Draft 1, proposing an amendment to the Hawaii State Constitution regarding the freedom of speech.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes?
25 ayes.
Thank you. SB 311 SD1 passes third reading.
On page 64, third reading of Senate Bill 801, Senate Draft 1, relating to managing agents.
Is there any discussion? Not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No vote for Senators Awa, DeCourt, and Favela.
22 ayes, 3 noes.
Thank you. SB 801 SD1 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 727, third reading of Senate Bill 227, Senate Draft 1, relating to fireworks.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No vote for Senators Awa and DeCourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 227 SD1 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 729, third reading of Senate Bill 576, Senate Draft 1, relating to financial administration.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes for Senators Awa and DeCourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 576 SD1 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 732, third reading of Senate Bill 112, Senate Draft 2, relating to police reports.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes for Senators Awa and DeCourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 112 SD2 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 733, third reading of Senate Bill 116, Senate Draft 2, relating to discrimination.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No vote for Senator Favela.
24 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. SB 116 SD2 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 737, third reading of Senate Bill 38, Senate Draft 2, relating to housing.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservations for Senator Richards, Elefante, McKelvey, Moriwaki, Favela. Any no votes? No votes for Senators Awa and DeCourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 38 SD2 passes third reading.
On page 65, Standing Committee Report Number 740, third reading of Senate Bill 1438, Senate Draft 1, relating to home care agencies.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes for Senators Awa and DeCourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 1438 SD1 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 744, third reading of Senate Bill 532, Senate Draft 2, relating to the Department of Education.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No vote for Senator Awa. Oh, I'm sorry. Senator DeCourt, Senator Awa, no votes.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 532 SD2 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 752, third reading of Senate Bill 1553, Senate Draft 2, relating to the Department of Hawaiian Homelands.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservations, Senator Favela. Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa and DeCourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 1553 SD2 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 754, third reading of Senate Bill 1619, Senate Draft 2, relating to the Cosmetology Licensure Compact.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No vote for Senator Awa. Senator DeCourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 1619 SD2 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 756, third reading of Senate Bill 328, Senate Draft 1, relating to taxation.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes?
25 ayes.
Thank you. SB 328 SD1 passes third reading.
Third reading of Senate Bill 942, Senate Draft 1, relating to rental applications.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No vote for Senator DeCourt and Senator Awa.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 942 SD1 passes third reading.
On page 66, third reading of Senate Bill 1050, Senate Draft 1, relating to insurance.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No vote for Senator Awa.
24 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. SB 1050 SD1 passes third reading.
Third reading of Senate Bill 176, Senate Draft 1, relating to recounts.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes for Senators Awa, DeCourt, and Favela.
21 ayes, 3 noes.
Thank you. SB 176 SD1 passes third reading.
Third reading of Senate Bill 262, Senate Draft 1, relating to prospective jurors.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservations for Senators San Buenaventura and Inouye. Any no votes?
24 ayes.
Thank you. SB 262 SD1 passes third reading.
Third reading of Senate Bill 778, Senate Draft 1, relating to sentencing.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservations for Senators Richards, Elefante, DeCoit. Any no votes?
24 ayes.
Thank you. SB 778 SD1 passes third reading.
Third reading of Senate Bill 1312, Senate Draft 1, relating to offenses against public health and morals.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservations, Senator San Buenaventura. Any no votes?
24 ayes.
Thank you. SB 1312 SD1 passes third reading.
Third reading of Senate Bill 1319, Senate Draft 1, relating to identification processing.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservations, Senator San Buenaventura. Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa and Senator DeCourt.
22 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 1319 SD1 passes third reading.
On page 67, third reading of Senate Bill 442, Senate Draft 1, relating to government.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservations, Senator Keoho Kalole. Any no votes?
24 ayes.
Thank you. SB 442 SD1 passes third reading.
Third reading of Senate Bill 934, Senate Draft 2, relating to the state budget.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes for Senators Awa and DeCourt.
22 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 934 SD2 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 828, third reading of Senate Bill 338, Senate Draft 2, relating to taxation.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservations, Senator McKelvey. Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa.
23 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. SB 338 SD2 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 829, third reading of Senate Bill 826, Senate Draft 1, relating to the low-income housing tax credit.
I don't know if I heard 829, but I have Senate Bill 826 SD1. Is there any discussion? Any reservations? Any no votes?
25
Oh,
aye.
No
I'm
vote
sorry.
for Senator Awa. Yeah, 826.
24 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. SB 826 SD1 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 835, third reading of Senate Bill 1220, Senate Draft 2, relating to renewable gas tariff.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Senator Fukunaga, any no votes? No votes, Senator DeCourt.
24 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. SB 1220 SD2 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 836, third reading of Senate Bill 446, Senate Draft 2, relating to waste management.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservations, Senators Favela and Keohokalole. Any no votes? No votes, Senator DeCourt, Senator Lee.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 446 SD2 passes third reading.
On page 68, Standing Committee Report Number 837, third reading of Senate Bill 583, Senate Draft 2, relating to naming rights.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Reservations? Senators Richards, Elefante, Favela, Fukunaga, Ihara, McKelvey. Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa, Senator DeCourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 583 SD2 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 839, third reading of Senate Bill 955, Senate Draft 2, relating to fitness to proceed.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservations, Senator Favela. Any no votes? No votes, Senator DeCourt.
24 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. SB 955 SD2 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 841, third reading of Senate Bill 1578, Senate Draft 2, relating to international affairs.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes for Senators Awa, DeCourt, Favela, and McKelvey.
21 ayes, 4 noes.
Thank you. SB 1578 SD2 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 848, third reading of Senate Bill 1298, Senate Draft 2, relating to recycling.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senators DeCourt and Awa.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 1298 SD2 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 850, third reading of Senate Bill 51, Senate Draft 1, relating to public financing for candidates to elected office.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservations, Senators Richards, Favela, Inouye, Kim, DeCoit, Moriwaki. Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa, Senator DeCourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 51 SD1 passes third reading.
On page 69, Standing Committee Report Number 855, third reading of Senate Bill 345, Senate Draft 1, relating to public financing.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa. Senator DeCourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 345 SD1 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 859, third reading of Senate Bill 301, Senate Draft 1, relating to dogs.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa.
24 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. SB 301 SD1 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 860, third reading of Senate Bill 741, relating to the University of Hawaii.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservations for Senator Inouye, Rhodes, Keohokalole. Any no votes?
25 ayes.
Thank you. SB 741 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 863, third reading of Senate Bill 1316, Senate Draft 1, relating to court-ordered payments.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes?
25, I'm sorry.
Did we have a no vote? We are on Senate Bill 1316. No vote for Senator DeCourt.
24 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. Senate Bill 1316 SD1 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report 868, third reading of Senate Bill 1624, Senate Draft 1, relating to the University of Hawaii.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Senator Kehokalole, Senator Rhodes, Senator Inouye, any no votes?
25 ayes.
Thank you. Senate Bill 1624 SD1 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 876, third reading of Senate Bill 1337, Senate Draft 1, relating to the Stadium Authority.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservations, Senator Favela, any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa, Senator DeCourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 1337 SD1 passes third reading.
On page 70, third reading of Senate Bill 295, Senate Draft 1, relating to domestic abuse protective orders.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes for Senator. So let's go back to no votes, Senator Awa, Senator DeCourt, reservations, Senator Favela. Any other reservations? Any other no votes?
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 295 SD1 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 885, third reading of Senate Bill 825, Senate Draft 2, relating to eviction mediation.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes for Senators Awa, DeCourt, Favela.
22 ayes, 3 noes.
Thank you. SB 825 SD2 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 888, third reading of Senate Bill 1166, Senate Draft 2, relating to insurance.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes for Senators Awa, DeCourt, and Favela.
22 ayes, 3 noes.
Thank you. SB 1166 SD2 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 890, third reading of Senate Bill 1667, Senate Draft 2, relating to transportation.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservations, Senators San Buenaventura, Kim, and McKelvey. Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa, Senator DeCourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 1667 SD2 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 895, third reading of Senate Bill 31, Senate Draft 2, relating to property.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes for Senators Awa and DeCourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 31 SD2 passes third reading.
On page 71, Standing Committee Report Number 896, third reading of Senate Bill 321, Senate Draft 1, relating to transportation.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservations, Senator Richards, Senator McKelvey. Any no votes? No vote for Senators Awa, DeCourt, Favela, and San Buenaventura. We got this right then, Madam Clerk?
Yes, 22 ayes and 3 noes.
Thank you. SB 321 SD1 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 903, third reading of Senate Bill 984, Senate Draft 2, relating to water pollution.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservations for Senators Richards, San Buenaventura, Inouye. Any no votes?
25 ayes.
Thank you. SB 984 SD2 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 905, third reading of Senate Bill 1429, Senate Draft 2, relating to medical cannabis.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No vote for Senator Awa.
24 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. SB 1429 SD2 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 906, third reading of Senate Bill 1433, Senate Draft 2, relating to harm reduction.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes for Senators Awa and DeCourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 1433 SD2 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 907, third reading of Senate Bill 253, Senate Draft 2, relating to condominium reserves.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no vote? Reservations, Senator San Buenaventura. Any no votes?
25 ayes.
Thank you. SB 253 SD2 passes third reading.
On page 72, Standing Committee Report Number 916, third reading of Senate Bill 71, Senate Draft 2, relating to the Rental Housing Revolving Fund.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservations, Senator San Buenaventura, Senator Morawaki. Any no vote? Oh, Senator McKelvey's a reservation. Any no votes?
25 ayes.
Thank you. SB 71 SD2 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 919, third reading of Senate Bill 438, Senate Draft 2, relating to waste disposal facilities.
Is there any discussion? Senator DeCourt,
Discussion. In opposition.
please proceed.
Thank you. Although this bill is solid when it comes to protecting our aquifer, however, I got to advocate for the residents of Waianae and firmly oppose this bill as it would keep the current landfill operational in my district. Waianae continues to face challenges and has been labeled as the dumping ground of Hawaii. This does not represent the culture of my community, and it's time that our surroundings reflect that. We have hosted more landfills than any other district. We are surrounded by sewers, power plants, industrial zones. Our voices are often drowned out by those in position of power and privilege who make these decisions for us without our input and definitely without our consent. Waianae has been more than patient, but there is a limit to our tolerance. This is not about waste management, this is about justice. And I must demand that solutions respect both our water resources and the residents of Waianae instead of one being sacrificed for the other. We gotta find a solution to the next landfill site. We have to have the conversation, the hard conversation of where our trash is gonna end up eventually. We will be at our max. And I don't want Waianae to continue to be looked at as the dumping grounds as we continue to hold the most Native Hawaiian homestead population in the state of Hawaii. We have the most blood in our community. And I want us to have the pride of not having to leave our coastline looking at a landfill and coming back home looking at a landfill. So as I support the intent of this bill and the protection of our water sources, I have to advocate for the residents of our community and hope that change can come out of this floor, out of this House, and out of this legislature. So thank you, colleagues. Thank you, Senate President.
Thank you. Further discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? Senator DeCourt?
24 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. SB 438 SD2 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 921, third reading of Senate Bill 659, Senate Draft 2, relating to the Department of Education.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no vote? Reservations for Senator DeCourt, Senator Kim, Senator Inouye. Any no votes?
25 ayes.
Thank you. SB 659 SD2 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 923, third reading of Senate Bill 946, Senate Draft 2, relating to wastewater management.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any reservations, Senator Favela? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa, Senator DeCourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 946 SD2 passes third reading.
On page 73, Standing Committee Report Number 930, third reading of Senate Bill 350, Senate Draft 1, proposing an amendment to the Hawaii Constitution to protect the right to contraception.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? Senator DeQuoit, are you a reservation or a no vote? So one reservations. Any other reservations? Senator Favela, reservations. Now we're going to the no votes again. No votes. Senator Awa, Senator DeQuoit, Senator Gabbard, Senator Kim. Reservations for Senator Morawaki, so it's still 4 no votes: Senator Awa, Senator DeQuoit, Senator Kim, Senator Gabbard.
21 ayes, 4 noes.
Thank you. SB 350 SD1 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 931, third reading of Senate Bill 1149, Senate Draft 1, relating to hate crimes.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senators Awa, DeQuoit, and Favela.
22 ayes, 3 noes.
Thank you. SB 1149 SD1 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 935, third reading of Senate Bill 103, Senate Draft 1, relating to electric vehicle batteries.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa, Senator DeQuoit.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 103 SD1 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 936, third reading of Senate Bill 124, Senate Draft 1, proposing amendments to Article 6, Sections 4 and 6 of the Hawaii State Constitution regarding reapportionment.
Article 4?
I'm sorry, Article 4, Sections 4 and 6 of the
Made me
Hawaii State
think
Constitution.
about my Roman numerals, Madam Clerk, but yes, the I is before the V.
I'm sorry.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Senator Favela. Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa, DeQuoit, San Buenaventura, McKelvey.
21 ayes, 4 noes.
Thank you. SB 124 SD1 passes third reading.
On page 74, Standing Committee Report Number 942, third reading of Senate Bill 657, Senate Draft 1, relating to the Center for Climate Resilient Development.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa, Senator DeQuoit.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 657 SD1 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 945, third reading of Senate Bill 1120, Senate Draft 1, relating to transportation.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa and Senator DeQuoit.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 1120 SD1 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 946, third reading of Senate Bill 1225, proposing an amendment to Article 17, Section 3 of the Hawaii Constitution to specify that the standard for voter approval of a constitutional amendment proposed by the legislature is a majority of all the votes tallied upon the question.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservations, Senator Richards, Senator Gabbard. Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa, Senator DeQuoit, Senator Favela, Senator San Buenaventura, Senator Kim, and Senator McKelvey.
19 ayes, 6 noes.
Thank you. SB 1225 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 950, third reading of Senate Bill 5, Senate Draft 1, relating to legislative vacancies.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa, Senator DeQuoit.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 5 SD1 passes third reading.
On page 75, Standing Committee Report Number 954, third reading of Senate Bill 228, Senate Draft 1, relating to excited delirium.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa, Senator DeQuoit.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 228 SD1 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 957, third reading of Senate Bill 1195, Senate Draft 1, relating to transportation.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservations, Senator San Buenaventura, Senator McKelvey. Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa, Senator DeCourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 1195 SD1 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 958, third reading of Senate Bill 1202, relating to campaign finance.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa, Senator DeCourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 1202 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 959, third reading of Senate Bill 1648, Senate Draft 1, relating to power outages.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Senator Richards. Any no votes?
25 ayes.
Thank you. SB 1648 SD1 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 962, third reading of Senate Bill 183, Senate Draft 1, relating to the Hawaii Employer Union Health Benefits Trust Fund.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes?
25 ayes.
Thank you. SB 183 SD1 passes third reading.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry, on 183, note reservations for Senator Moriwaki, but all those voted in favor. SB 183 SD1 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 965, third reading of Senate Bill 869, Senate Draft 1, relating to community outreach boards.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservations, Senator Richards. Any no votes?
25 ayes.
Thank you. SB 869 SD1 passes third reading.
On page 76, Standing Committee Report Number 981, third reading of Senate Bill 964, Senate Draft 1, relating to waste to energy.
Is there any discussion? Senator Favela.
Thank you, Senate President. I rise in strong support of Committee 981, Senate Bill 964, SD1, relating to waste to energy.
Please proceed.
Mr. President, I support waste to energy solutions because the technology can eliminate the needs for landfill. Our neighbor islands could benefit from advancing to a waste to energy technology that has used in Japan and Europe. The energy options would take the combustible materials. Number one would be produce energy. Number two, reduce the amount of waste to send to landfills. Number three, offsets the needs to import oil. Number four, to take care of the land, make sure we have enough land that would be needed for landfills, and help reach the state goals and achieve clean energy by 2045. Sorry, my finger's cold, sorry. Gotta borrow Senator Kim's warmers. All right. If Maui were using all of this, 78,000 tons would be a combustible MSW, could be a plant that would produce between 5 to 10 megawatts of energy. If Kauai were used, all of its 68,000 tons of MSW could be having a plant that produced about 5 megawatts of energy. If Hawaii Island were to use 171 tons of waste to energy plant could produce about 10 megawatts of energy. One might ask, how could a public-private partnership would work on waste to energy? Well, for starters, P3 would leverage the private sector to finance and resource by building on state land. They have expertise in the newest technologies. Number three, they have to bring to the table innovation and developing on message to complete the waste to energy facilities. The reason why I bring this up, and I understand a lot of testimony had said about the clean energy, Senate President, but this technology is new and hasn't been thought of, not even had been brought up to in Hawaii. But the reason why we had done with my colleague in the waste to energy, energy, we've been talking about this, is because everybody said we don't have enough municipal waste. That is not true. We're not telling them to build H Power. We're asking them to consider to build something that will fit each neighbor island. And I'm going to talk for Hilo because I take rubbish there every time when I go up there to visit my daughter. Hilo has to take their rubbish to Kona. Kona is the landfill. Now, if both of them, not saying they would, but both of them would fit a renewable energy plant going forward. We don't need to talk about other energy options. We'll be able to have both of them, and nobody have to travel over Hilo to Kona, and that's about 4 to 5 hours one way. And then when the landfill is not accessible, not easy to take your trash out of Hilo. But I'm gonna tell you this, Hilo has the best, not only Hilo, but Kona has the best way of their technology on dumping their rubbish. But again, this would help out the neighbor islands a lot if they would consider it and look into it. But again, colleagues, I ask you guys for support on this waste to energy bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion, Senator Rhodes and then Senator McKelvey.
Mr. President, can we have a short recess?
There are no objections from the members. Short recess, subject to the call of the chair. Will the Senate please come to order? We are on Senate Bill 964 SD1. Any further discussion, Senator McKelvey?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm just rising with reservations on this measure. I appreciate the fervor of the introducer in trying to explore this as a tool for waste management. However, Maui County's looked at this many times through many different mayoral administrations, and it just never pencils, never has, and I don't think it ever will. So that's my reservations for Maui. Thank you.
Thank you for the discussion. If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Senator McKelvey? Any other reservations? Senator Richards? Any no votes?
24 ayes.
Thank you. SB 964 SD1 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 983, third reading of Senate Bill 1641, Senate Draft 2, relating to the State of Hawaii Film Commission.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa, Senator DeCourt.
22 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 1641 SD2 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 987, third reading of Senate Bill 252, Senate Draft 2, relating to invasive species.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservations, Senator DeCourt. Any no votes?
24 ayes.
Thank you. SB 252 SD2 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 988, third reading of Senate Bill 1064, Senate Draft 2, relating to medical cannabis.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa.
23 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. SB 1064 SD2 passes third reading.
On page 77, Standing Committee Report Number 989, third reading of Senate Bill 1324, Senate Draft 2, relating to fireworks.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa, Senator DeCourt.
22 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 1324 SD2 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 993, third reading of Senate Bill 83, Senate Draft 2, relating to hotels.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Richards. Oh, is there a reservation? So let's start this all over. Any reservations? Senator Moriwaki, Senator McKelvey, Senator Kim. Any no votes? Senators Richards, Awa, DeCourt, Favela, Inouye.
19 ayes, 5 noes.
Thank you. SB 83 SD2 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 994, third reading of Senate Bill 25, Senate Draft 1, relating to housing.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Senator Kim? Any no? Senator Inoue? Any no votes?
24 ayes.
Sorry, Mr. President, reservation.
Let's get on our script, people. Reservations for Senator Moriwaki, Senator McKelvey, Senator Kim, Senator Inoue. Any no votes?
24 ayes.
Thank you. SB 25 SD1 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 995, third reading of Senate Bill 1030, Senate Draft 2, relating to elections.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa, Senator DeCourt, Senator Favela.
22 ayes, 3 noes.
Thank you. SB 1030 SD2 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 996, third reading of Senate Bill 1022, Senate Draft 2, relating to animal endangerment.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa, Senator DeCourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 1022 SD2 passes third reading.
On page 78, Standing Committee Report Number 1004, third reading of Senate Bill 11, Senate Draft 2, relating to vegetation management near utility lines.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa.
24 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. Senate Bill 11 SD2 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 1010, third reading of Senate Bill 1395, Senate Draft 2, relating to state funds.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa, Senator DeCourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 1395 SD2 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 1011, third reading of Senate Bill 1571, Senate Draft 2, relating to tourism.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservations, Senator Elefante, Senator Inoue. Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa, Senator DeCourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 1571 SD2 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 1012, third reading of Senate Bill 1612, Senate Draft 2, relating to fitness to proceed.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservations, Senator Favela. Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa and Senator DeCourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 1612 SD2 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 1013, third reading of Senate Bill 97, Senate Draft 2, relating to motor vehicles.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservations, Senator McKelvey, Senator Richards. Any no votes? Senator Awa, Senator DeCourt, and Senator Favela.
22 ayes, 3 noes.
Thank you. SB 97 SD2 passes third reading.
On page 79, Standing Committee Report Number 1014, third reading of Senate Bill 100, Senate Draft 2, relating to intoxicating liquor.
Senator San Buenaventura. Well, we've okay, we are on Senate Bill 100 SD2 relating to intoxicating liquor. Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservation? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa.
24 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. SB 100 SD2 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 1015, third reading of Senate Bill 601, Senate Draft 1, relating to law enforcement.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa and Senator DeCourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 601 SD1 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 1016, third reading of Senate Bill 822, Senate Draft 2, relating to the Landlord-Tenant Code.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No vote, Senator Awa.
24 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. SB 822 SD2 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 1017, third reading of Senate Bill 971, Senate Draft 2, relating to traffic.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No vote, Senator Awa.
24 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. SB 971 SD2 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 1023, third reading of Senate Bill 30, relating to mopeds.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No vote, Senator Awa. Senator DeCourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 30 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 1024, third reading of Senate Bill 106, Senate Draft 1, relating to pedestrians.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservations, Senator Morawaki, McKelvey, Senator Aquino. Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa, Senator DeCourt, Senator Elefante.
22 ayes, 3 noes.
Thank you. SB 106 SD1 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 1025, third reading of Senate Bill 312, relating to automobile vehicle reverse warning systems. Sorry.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservations, Senator DeCourt. Any no votes? No votes, Senators Awa, DeCourt, and Favela.
22 ayes, 3 noes.
Thank you. SB 312 passes third reading.
On page 80, Standing Committee Report Number 1026, third reading of Senate Bill 344, Senate Draft 1, relating to highway safety.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator McKelvey, Senator Awa, Senator DeCourt.
22 ayes, 3 noes.
Thank you. SB 344 SD1 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 1028, third reading of Senate Bill 1216, Senate Draft 1, relating to transportation.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa, DeCourt, Favela, Inouye, McKelvey.
20 ayes, 5 noes.
Thank you. SB 1216 SD1 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 1032, third reading of Senate Bill 614, Senate Draft 1, relating to Hawaiian Independence Day.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we, Senator Favela.
Thank you, Senate President. I rise in strong support of Committee Report 1032, Senate Bill 614, ST1, relating to Hawaii Independence Day.
Please proceed.
Mr. President, we celebrate 4th of July, American Independence Day, as an official state holiday. It's a day when 13 American colonies separated from Great Britain. But why haven't we celebrated Hawaii became a sovereign nation as the state holiday? In 1843, Great Britain and France signed a declaration of recognizing the independence of the Hawaii nation. Today, certain charter schools recognize the day as an official school holiday. But we need to officially recognize this day so all can celebrate Hawaiian cultural modern times in the modern times. The teaching of Native children and charter schools, we also have to teach all children of these islands. Let's celebrate November 28 with goodness and justice as we officially state the holiday of Lakoakoa, Hawaiian Independence Day. Colleagues, let's stand together for the Independence Day of our Hawaiian Day. Thank you for supporting and hope you support Senate Bill 614. Thank you and mahalo, Mr. President.
Thank you. Further discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes?
25 ayes.
Thank you. SB 614 SD1 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 1035, third reading of Senate Bill 1434, Senate Draft 1, relating to Universal Immunization Funding Program.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa, Senator Decourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 1434 SD1 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 1039, third reading of Senate Bill 891, Senate Draft 2, relating to economic development.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservations, Senator Rhodes. Any no votes? No votes, Senator Decourt.
24 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. SB 891 SD2 passes third reading.
On page 81, Standing Committee Report Number 1043, third reading of Senate Bill 1074, Senate Draft 2, relating to environmental impact statements.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Or do you have discussion, Senator McKelvey?
Yes, I apologize for that. Just going to rise to note my reservations. Want to thank the committee chairs for the work
Please
they've
proceed.
been doing on this bill. However, as I brought up, I think earlier, I think without having the DLNR doing these EISs globally for all the permit holders, it's just unrealistic that they're going to be able to do this given the limited amount of companies that do this work and the amount of money needed for this. So I hope as this measure goes forward that there can be an earnest discussion about having the administration and the department conducting these EISs so they can be done quickly and without great burden to the permit holders. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion, Senator Inouye?
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise in support of Senate Bill 1074 SD2.
Please proceed.
I'd like to briefly explain the intent and the purpose of this bill. It is not intended to get rid of or undermine the Hawaii Environmental Protection Act, better known as HEPA. This act impacts every person and every agency in our islands. We need to make sure we are doing our due diligence while still making sensible decisions with respect to cultural, economic, and fiscal impacts relating to the ethical use of our ocean resources. This bill was intended to address a court ruling that unintentionally affected many industries across the board, which include fishing and gaming, commercial use, and ocean recreation. It also affects our research and technology sectors, as well as our fishermen and farmers. We need to ensure that we can not only help to rebuild our community and economy, but to protect and preserve our environment and ensure that this is the same across all of our islands. A year is more than enough time, and I thank our Judiciary Chair for the SD2, for individuals and businesses alike that are being challenged or are undergoing the review process to begin preparing for an environmental impact statement to be done. Colleagues, I urge you to support SB 1074 SD2 and passing it on to the House. Mahalo.
Thank you. Further discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Reservations for Senator McKelvey, Senator Decoit, Gabbard, Ihara, Richards. Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa.
24 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. SB 1074 SD2 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 1045, third reading of Senate Bill 1033, Senate Draft 2, relating to taxation.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservations, Senator Ihara, Senator Inouye. Any Senator Favela, Senator San Buenaventura. Any no votes?
25 ayes.
Thank you. SB 1033 SD2 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 1046, third reading of Senate Bill 816, Senate Draft 2, relating to due process protections.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa, Senator Decourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 816 SD2 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 1050, third reading of Senate Bill 1501, Senate Draft 2, relating to energy.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa, Senator Decourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 1501 SD2 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 1054, third reading of Senate Bill 242, Senate Draft 2, relating to foreign ownership of agricultural land.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have, Senator Chang?
Thank you, Mr. President. May I have permission to insert written remarks with reservations into the journal?
So ordered. Further discussion? Senator Richards?
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise in support with reservations.
Please proceed.
Thank you. I do understand the intent of this, but we are struggling here in the state to promote and enhance agriculture production throughout the state. We need that outside investment, and we have very good partners that are foreign entities investing in our state. So while I do understand the intent, I think we've got to look at this a little bit harder, and I'll be supporting with reservations. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Senators Kanuha, Richards, Elefante, Hashimoto, Chang, Fukunaga, Aquino, Inouye, Kim, Decoit, Wakai, Morawaki. Any no votes?
25 ayes.
Thank you. SB 242 SD2 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 1057, third reading of Senate Bill 308, Senate Draft 2, relating to firearms.
Is there any discussion? Senator Favela.
Mr. President, I rise in strong opposition for Senate Standing Committee Report 1057, Senate Bill 308 relating to firearms.
Please proceed.
We the people have the right to defend ourselves and our freedom, to guarantee our Second Amendment right. This bill unfortunately punish responsible gun owners who doesn't address the real cause of violence, gun violence. People kill people, not guns. By limiting the access of magazines, we are only hurting law-abiding citizens. This amendment does not target the real issues of gun violence, such as improving mental health services and illegal magazines and guns that's already the root to the cause of the crime. This bill harms those who use firearms for self-defense, sport shooting, and hunting. We going hunting is easier to carry one 30-round clip than carrying 3 10-round clips or individual bullets. If my family, my property is threatened, having a limited number of bullets wouldn't allow me to defend my family and my property fully. Criminals will always find a way to bypass the law, and our community and bear the burden of these limited, that little improvement to our safety. As I vote no on this bill and do say to defend our rights, to also be able to encourage and focus the solution to actually truly make our community safer. Thank you, Senate President.
Thank you. Any further discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservations, Senator Aquino. Any no votes? Senators Awa, DeCourt, Favela, Richards, Gabbard.
20 ayes, 5 noes.
Thank you. SB 308, SD2 passes third reading.
On page 82, Standing Committee Report Number 1058, third reading of Senate Bill 401, Senate Draft 2, relating to firearms.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservations for Senator Richards, San Buenaventura, Aquino, McKelvey. Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa, Senator DeCourt, Favela, Gabbard, and Decoit.
20 ayes, 5 noes.
Thank you. SB 401 SD2 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 1063, third reading of Senate Bill 148, Senate Draft 2, relating to combat sports.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa, Senator DeCourt, Senator Favela.
22 ayes, 3 noes.
Thank you. SB 148 SD2 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 1064, third reading of Senate Bill 1276, Senate Draft 1, relating to agriculture.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes?
25 ayes.
Thank you. SB 1276, SD1 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 1067, third reading of Senate Bill 897, Senate Draft 3, relating to energy.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No vote, Senator DeCourt.
23 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. SB 1276, SD1 passes third reading.
Standing Committee Report Number 1068, third reading of Senate Bill 1252, Senate Draft 2, relating to dementia.
Are we on Senate Bill 897? We did 897. Wow. Didn't mark it. Okay. Is there any discussion on Senate Bill 1252 SD2? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservations, Senator Keokalole, Senator Richards. Any no votes?
24 ayes.
Thank you. SB 1252 SD2 passes third reading.
Referrals and re-referrals.
Referrals and re-referrals are made in accordance with the supplemental order of the day and any supplemental orders of the day that may be filed later today. She said it's okay.
No further business, Mr. President.
Are there any announcements today? Senator DeCoy.
Thank you, Mr. President. Can I be allowed to do a late introduction?
Please proceed.
Members, I'd like to warmly welcome some self-advocates that came in from Molokai and the support staff from Molokai, Rebecca Wright, Henry Freitas, Brandon Randy Wong, Ernest Kapu, and Lydell Kaupu. Welcome to the Senate. And Mr. President, can I insert their names into the
The
journal?
moment you read them off, they are in the journal.
Thank you.
Any further announcements? If not, the chair has one. All members, including my three colleagues in the front of my left, are to meet in the majority caucus room immediately after session. If there are no further announcements, Senator Wakai.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate stand adjourned until 11:30 a.m. Thursday, March 6th.
Senator DeCourt.
Mr. President, I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. If there are no objections from the members, the Senate will adjourn until 11:30 a.m. Thursday, March 6th.